We're good, though. Go ahead.
Fuck it, we'll do this live. Welcome to Hit or Miss. I am Night Strike. Tonight I'm joined by Hawaii Volcano Squad, like always.
Aloha.
And Sean is here too.
Good evening.
Gentlemen. I have to say. Anyways, if anyone else wants to join in on gun channels, just send me a message and I'll invite you. Tonight we're just going to do a bit of a wrap-up and just kind of talk about the things that happened this year. If anyone wants to jump in and they have something they'd like to talk about that happened this year, just in guns or politics, we will touch that just a little bit.
Did something happen this year?
Well, the negative things, the positive things, if there are any, we'll talk about that. All right. I think Sean wanted to go first.
Well, basically what we have now is an immigration problem. We're one of the few nations in the world that don't limit the amount of applicants that we accept every year, and it's become apparently very clear that we need to impose limitations. I'm not saying that we need to single out a single group, but 100 years ago, we had a president who fought in several wars. He was a very intelligent man, and he was quoted as saying, if you don't mind me going on a little bit of a rant, but there's a quote that I abide by, and it says, in the first place, we should insist that if the immigrant who comes here in good faith becomes an American and assimilates themselves to us, he shall be treated on an exact equality with everyone else, for it is an outrage to discriminate against any such person because of creed, birthplace, or origin. But this is predicated upon the person's becoming in every facet an American, and nothing but an American. There can be no divided allegiance here. Any man who says he is an American, but is something else also, is not an American at all.
I just have one question. Are you reloading your ammo with primers and then loading it with fish penicillin?
You hear me reloading primers.
I hear you pouring in the fish penicillin.
Let me finish my quote. This is very good stuff. Anyway, I can't remember where I left off, but anyway. We have room for... I gotta remember the quote because I'm doing this off of memory. We have room but for one flag, the American flag. We have room but for one language here, and that is the English language. And we have room but for
the American language.
One sole loyalty, and that is to the loyalty of the American people. And that right there was the smartest man in American presidential history, because this happened during the American Industrial Revolution or just before it, and this was Teddy Roosevelt. And what I'd like to point out is we use the term progressive as a very negative term because the liberals have ruined the term progressive. But this man was a Republican, and he was a progressive who ran third party and successfully
I thought Flo
won.
From that Progressive Insurance ruined the name of
He successfully won as a third-party president. And what America needs to remember is there always has not been the two parties you see today. There was different parties in different times for different needs. And just because we're dealing with a lesser than two evils system now does not mean we're confined to a lesser than two evils system now or in the future. We can choose other leaders if we want to. We just don't, because we've been so brainwashed with the system we've had for like the last 75 or 80 years. But this guy, he ran his own party, and he won, and he was successful, and he was innovative, and he was progressive in a good way. And all he's saying is what we need to say right now. If you want to be an American, be an American. We will take you, we will accept you, we will not judge you. But don't you dare impose your will on the rest of us.
Well, here's the problem. Like, I want to complain about last week's hit and miss because the end, I don't know if it was towards the end or the off-air part where Nathan, hello, comes on and says, assumes that because I know how to pronounce the state fish of Hawaii, that like I'm an immigrant or something. I'm an illegal immigrant because I know how to say nuku nuku apu
He was just giving you shit to give
It's
you
a
shit.
Hawaiian triggerfish, and I know how to pronounce the word. But I was born in Los Angeles, California. So, but no, it's the whole
Doesn't help your
ethnocentricity.
case.
Look, hold on. I
Whole
want
ethnocentricity
to say
of
that you
when
want.
people speak a different language, even if it's just to pronounce the state fish that's of Hawaii, that they automatically. I mean, people get pissed when somebody doesn't speak American. You know, I mean, I was in a bus one time, and visiting my folks, just to go to taking people to a trailhead of a national park. And Eli Lilly or Pfizer has a big office that they work around there, and some Indian employees were speaking Hindi or whatever on in between themselves. And so some, ethnocentric American just starts yelling and screaming because they're not speaking English. And it's just, it's a big world, and you do have to accept that in this world there are people who might speak a language that you don't understand, and it doesn't make them an illegal immigrant. It doesn't make them bad people. It doesn't make them dangerous.
No, I completely agree. I speak 3 languages, but the thing is when they say that you are an American citizen, you should at least speak the common language of America, and you shouldn't force your ideology to make America conform to what you brought here. We're glad that you brought it here. We're glad that you're bringing diversity here. But don't try to change what we consider American values and the norm here just to accommodate you. You came to us. You conform to us. That's how America works.
But you don't see the ethnocentricity in if I how come I can't say humanuku apu the name of the state fish, and without being accused of being an illegal immigrant?
You shouldn't be. I'm just saying that you shouldn't force, us trying to speak the original tribal language as the norm. But I mean,
no, it's not my original tribal language.
Right. You went with the flow with where you moved to. But that's a perfect example of what immigrants should do. Go with the flow of where you're going to.
Right. But I think Nathan wants to say something, so let's just get the floor, Nathan.
Yeah, that's right. I just want to say that anyone who swims from Mexico to Hawaii automatically should become a citizen.
That took me a minute to process.
Hawaii.
People are like, are you an immigrant?
If anyone swims from Mexico to Hawaii, they will be the powerlifting champion of the world.
Nathan, back me up here. You were just messing with Hawaii last time, right?
I'm sure I was. I don't remember what I said.
Well, you're from Texas. Not required to remember what you said.
Hey, I'm.
Okay, so let me share this with you. My wife was adopted in Taiwan. Her brother married Kimiko from Japan. Her other brother married a woman who's half American, half Colombian. Her sister married Ali, whose parents came over from Egypt. So as far as me, and she has 2 brothers that were adopted from Korea that are half African American and half Korean because they're African American orphan soldiers or soldiers. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But anyway, so I have no problem with people coming over here. I mean, come on, bring it.
Yeah. I mean, look, America is one of those few countries that says, give us your poor, you're tired, you're hungry, all that good stuff.
But don't speak a foreign language.
No, it's not that. It's not that. And that's the biggest misconstrued issue that I have with immigration. Most countries put a limitation on the number of immigrants that they allow per year. What this does is it allows them to help vet all the applicants much more efficiently if they have a set number, because that way they can say, look, we have this big government entity, And these people should be able to screen and vet and get these people in, but only this number of people. When you have an influx of people that you can't keep track of, you can't do full background checks on these people. You don't know who these people are.
Sean, I would like to share this. We had no official immigration policy up until the institution of the Internal Revenue Service.
That needs to go too.
As soon as we started taxing the people and redistributing funds, we had to eliminate a free-for-all for coming here. Before, the Great Depression, if you came to the U.S., you better get a job because you ain't going to eat.
Mm-hmm.
Starve. I mean, so we said bring everyone here.
Well, yeah, that was before the welfare system.
Tax everyone's income and start giving out welfare and redistributing funds. Everyone's like, holy crap, America's giving out free crap. Let's go there. So the reason we have an immigration problem here is because we.
I think America has a bigger draw than just they're giving out free food. I think there's a lot of good things about America that people like.
If you look at the fact that we had unlimited immigration for 150 years or more.
It wasn't unlimited.
Well, if you got on a boat, you came here and we let you in.
There's some truth to that.
Well, how come my family needed to wait 5 years in Belgium and Europe after World War II for a visa?
He's talking about before World War II.
Yeah, I'm talking about the Great Depression. Between World War I and World War II, they instituted immigration policies. And that was because they instituted the IRS, too, and public health, public works.
My mom had to wait just as long as probably your folks had to wait because she was a Korean, citizen, and my dad was a soldier in Korea who was stationed in Korea at the time, who served Vietnam, and he served in many places abroad. But she had to go through the same thing. My dad actually stayed an additional 4 years in a country that he no longer had to be in to make sure that she actually got her citizenship before they came back to the States.
Sean, I want you to apologize to the entire panel here for being an anchor baby.
I'm not an anchor baby because I was born on an army base. I would be the first president in U.S. history to be born abroad on considered U.S. soil, and that is my goal in life.
I think everyone's born abroad.
Well, I see what you did there.
Wow, Nathan, way to use a 1940s, 1950s term. How old are you? I mean, seriously, man, come on.
He's actually only like a year or two older than me.
Yeah. Okay. Joking aside, but yeah, we're supposed to be a country of tolerance. We're supposed to be it's been said that our country is the giant melting pot of the world, which has its negative and positive connotations.
It used to be.
It used to be, but I agree that they shouldn't. When they come over here, they shouldn't try and bring their old laws and their old ways of life.
Well, not everybody wants to melt.
Yeah, no, not everyone wants to melt. Then, yeah, that's true. But here's the thing: if you don't want to melt, that means you really don't want to be here. So don't come here.
Bullshit. That's bullshit. People want to retain their culture and their identity, and you
There's
can
a
still
difference
do
between
that
retaining
and
your culture
learn
and
to be
identity
an
and imposing
American.
it on others.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
a big difference.
Yeah, but you can't say, you have to melt with everybody else.
I'll give you a good
example. People get to determine what. I think the best way to look at it is people want to take the best parts of their original culture from where they moved from. And they want to take the best part of America, and that's I think what most people who move here want, the best of everything.
How many courts of Sharia law are recognized in the United States right now? 0. How many courts of Sharia law are imposed in the United Kingdom? I think it's 83.
Well, I take no responsibility for the United Kingdom.
No, but the point is they brought and imposed their old world where they came from into their new land. See, all they wanted was real estate. They didn't want everything that came with that real estate.
The UK,
Do you know how many marriages they don't recognize under the crown?
Don't throw the UK statistics at me, because I have a lot of problems with the UK.
Well, yeah, but my point is they came to the UK and then they just stuck all these Sharia courts in there, and these people who emigrated to the UK saw these courts, went and got legally married where they thought they were getting legally married, and the British
Well,
Parliament and the government didn't recognize any of it.
There's rabbinical courts in New York, you know.
The point is you come to the States because you want a life different from where you're leaving, right? Land of opportunity. That's great. You can bring your cultural heritage,
Freedom.
you can bring your cultural values, but the fact of the matter is when you come and you tell the current system that we need to accommodate for their system, no, that does not happen. There's a reason why we have laws here already, and for you to come and try to bring your laws over here to fit your demographic, that's just everything against democracy right there in a nutshell.
I would like to institute some laws against how much curry people can buy when they come in from India, and also a support structure for free government soap for them. And we'll pay them.
You know, most people don't realize that there's 70,000 different varieties of curry. I know that.
I don't know what they all smell like.
There's
you know, at the other end, there's at least that many varieties of soap too.
Well, yeah.
All right. Anyways, let's get back to the guns, okay? So,
Sure.
Does anybody want to bring up anything that happened this year involving guns, like the good or the bad,
How about this week?
or
How
even
about
this
we
week?
talk about the IWI Ace recall?
What?
Okay, so there's a new pistol out. It's the
Okay.
IWI Ace. It's based roughly off the AK-47 mechanics, like the bolt and things are pretty much similar. But
auto
the fact
series.
that it has 3 pins in the receiver, which is what's typically used in an AK for full automatic capability, the ATF went batshit crazy over it. And now IWI is recalling all these weapons which could possibly be destroyed because it has this 3rd pin. Now, Military Arms
That
Channel
piece is
sat
crazy.
down, took it apart piece by piece, and he basically laid out that you cannot convert this to full auto without a competent machinist modifying the weapon around that 3rd pin. You can't just drop in an auto sear. It's not going to work.
Couldn't they just add another pin or something?
No, because it has a 3rd pin. That's where the problem stemmed from. Most of them have 2 pins here in the States, AKs, and they're semi-auto. So if it had 2 pins, it would have never been an issue. But the fact that it had a 3rd pin in the same place that an AK that could have an auto sear installed, they went nuts over it.
So basically, IWI didn't want to conform to.
I think they saw it
ideals.
as a mechanical oversight because they machined it in such a fashion where, yes, it had the 3rd pin, no, it won't drop in an auto sear. Like, they skipped a lot of the manufacturing process to allow an auto sear to be put in, but because they put that 3rd pin in there, there's this huge stink. And we are the only nation in the world where this is being distributed, where this is an issue.
You know, who's all for getting rid of the ATF, the NFA, and the 86 machine gun ban?
I'd get rid of the Hughes Amendment. I'd get rid of the NFA. I'd get rid of the ATF. I'd get rid of the IRS. And I've got solutions for all of it. Because
We also
you
get
don't
rid
need
of
the
Marshall.
ATF because the FBI and your local municipalities can do the exact same job.
Yep.
You
And
don't
the IRS.
need you
And
don't
because
need the IRS because it's a gigantic, bloated government entity full of people who don't even do their fucking job in the first place that could be completely dodged by loopholes and tax evasion or whatever. What you need to do with the IRS is just cut it out, get rid of all those people
Sorry,
working there
that won't
doing
work.
nothing for a paycheck, and
Okay.
you just put a
That's not true.
national 2% sales tax.
How are you going to fight
an
organized crime
unavoidable
without
tax?
the IRS? Give me a
What?
fucking break. How are you going to fight organized crime without the IRS? Give me a fucking
What
break.
organized crime are we dealing with lately?
Al Capone.
Al Capone, he's
dead
back
guy?
from the dead. Didn't
Yeah,
you
dead
hear?
guy.
It's
He's
called
now
money
zombie
laundering.
Al Capone.
It's called money laundering. You follow the money.
So give the FBI a bigger job to do.
So here's
The
the
IRS
thing.
is slightly
Hold on.
better at following money than the FBI.
But you have to understand, if you get all the ATF's responsibilities over to the FBI, they might not focus on moonshiners. They might not focus on busting people sneaking in cigarettes.
Are
They
you
might
implying that they
focus
might
on going out and
have
trying to
that
bust
matter?
people who buy guns and might not fill out the right forms. You know, the FBI might not care about that because they're
I'm just
dealing
gonna
with
tell you,
murderers
my
and
uncle
terrorism.
worked for the
So
IRS, and
all
all
this,
he did was go after organized crime.
do you realize that without the ATF, that people could buy cigarettes off the street instead of going to 7-Eleven? Do you realize that they could do that?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Do you realize that it's legal for you yourself to grow, dry, and roll your own cigarettes that you've done all by yourself,
You can
but
buy
it's not
people
illegal to
tobacco
sell
all
it
day
without a
long.
That is the
license?
Hey,
definition.
I have to restrain myself from shooting somebody who was smoking in my building.
Did I ever tell y'all the story about the big ATF bust where they busted the cigarettes? My old boss's sister was an auditor for the ATF, but she spoke Vietnamese, so they sent her to Seattle. Turns out these people had shipped over a cargo container from Vietnam full of Marlboros, where Marlboros are $1 a pack in Vietnam.
They
And they
didn't
were
have the little
selling
tax
them,
stamp on them.
and they were selling the cartons of Marlboros for $20 a carton. And the ATF sent 50 agents to go and bust them.
Well,
You
you
see,
know,
I
the
don't. That
government
doesn't
agencies
sound
aren't
strange to
completely
me.
useless.
You realize how much people were smoking in Seattle? And then they had to go to 7-Eleven after they did this bust. They saved a lot of tax revenue.
That doesn't sound strange to
Probably
me
cost
because
a couple $1 million to send all those agents there and prosecute.
when my dad smoked, that's what he paid for a carton here in Texas. So that doesn't sound strange to me. I don't know what a carton costs nowadays because when I smoked, I always bought it by the pack.
Try $50.
That's
Easy.
highway robbery.
Yeah, that's all tax.
Yeah.
Yeah, but my point is the ATF sent 50 agents to bust a ring of people with a shipping container of Marlboros.
See, I just don't
I
see
said
the point.
agents. I didn't say Asians.
Because you have the Bureau of Alcohol,
Someone's taking offense.
Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives. Okay, alcohol can be done at a local level. Tobacco can be done at a local level. Firearms can be done more or less at a local level, maybe with a national registry, the NICS system.
Right.
Explosives, well, you and I typically can't buy explosives anyway unless you're like a miner or something. So most of that stuff
You have to have some
guy
people
anyway.
Wait, they sell explosives to minors? I thought you had to be 18.
Mining people.
mining people.
I guess I should be more specific.
But
Anyway,
again,
my point is most of these can be done by municipalities that are already in place. So they're a redundant, overbearing bureau that needs to be gone.
if we didn't have the ATF hunting down moonshiners, then who would do it? Would it be the FBI? I mean, because they're out there looking for what's it called, meth lab.
Why not just the local
See, that's
cops?
the biggest
Or-
joke in history because right now, what do we've got? A craft brew revolution. So
Yep.
why aren't they going after those guys?
Because they're not selling them. The craft brew people are making the crafts and then giving it to their
Because they're
buddies or
making
whatever.
stuff
They're
that
not
we
selling
like
it.
to drink.
All right,
Look here.
so
Hold on. Without the ATF, what if somebody actually went and shot a person with a gun? I mean, if the ATF wasn't there to step in and prosecute that person for owning a legal firearm, what would we do?
God, we'd have to call the police. Imagine that.
Oh wait,
the police would actually have to do their job. Mind blown.
The ATF doesn't prosecute people for gun violence.
No, they just come and report what already happened.
After the fact.
I thought the ATF mostly just dealt with paperwork kind of stuff.
There's
They do.
one branch of the ATF that does that. The other ones go and they slaughter innocent people with tanks and stuff in Waco.
Wake up.
They got their butts handed to them there. If you look at other federal law enforcement agencies, they view the ATF as like the hillbilly cousin of federal law enforcement. It's a joke.
Okay, so we're going to talk about this because we've been talking about this that's been happening. It happened. It was mentioned a little while back. New York is trying to make an amendment to the SAFE Act that basically you can only buy double your gun's capacity every 90 days, and the gun's capacity is based on the magazine. Since the magazine limit
And the
is
state
10
fact
rounds,
says you can't have more than 10 rounds. So you can only buy
so
You can only buy
you can only buy 20
rounds.
rounds every 90 days.
Yeah, that's going to get a lot of people killed because they can't defend themselves because they
If you
can't
live
get
in New
taxes.
York, the main thing you need to think of if you live in New York City is how the fuck you gonna get out in an emergency? I mean, what are there like 4 tunnels or something that will be totally jammed, packed if there was a terrorist attack and everybody tried to get out at once?
They don't
Yeah.
even think
It's like-
about that. You're talking about a blue state that worries more about why the Knicks and the Nets suck. That's what they're concerned about.
And then there's the what else happened? The Virginia Attorney General basically revoked all but 5 states' reciprocity with everybody else's concealed carry permits.
Virginia Congress is
basically
looking to get
took
that guy.
reciprocity for every state that
Everybody
didn't have
in New York State,
requirements.
leave New York and fire a shot in the air.
Okay, but let's talk about Virginia. So he did this because of mass shootings and gun violence. And I'm sitting there going, so basically you're just saying anyone who's a concealed carry permit holder can't travel to your state and carry. And how many times in Virginia has a mass shooting been done by a concealed carrier? Wait, let me ask, how many times has a concealed carrier in the United States in the past 20 years committed a mass shooting? Would anyone like to throw out a number?
I think it's 0.4%.
Yeah.
There was an actual statistic put out. I
People
think
who
it's
have concealed carry
0.4.
licenses don't commit
It's-
mass shootings.
Yeah, 0.4 I think is just any
That's-
crime at all.
That's like a combination of domestic abuse or third-time DWI things, that sort of stuff.
Or just anything, shoplifting or like any, it was like any crime.
But
It
maybe
wasn't violent.
maybe some white collar stock tax evasion type stuff. Again, if you look at America as a demographic, concealed carriers and probably clergy are the 2 people that have the least amount of criminals in their subset group. No, I take that back.
Are you talking
I
about
don't know
violent
if that's
offenders?
like-
When you say clergy and criminals, I just think of Catholics quite a bit. Sorry.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Okay. But if you look at demographically, who has the least amount of crime in a demographic group, it would be concealed carriers. We're the most law-abiding citizens there are in the United States.
They're
Right,
less
because
than
we're
police
the most
officers.
aware of the laws that are put in front of us.
Okay, let's move on. What else happened? There was earlier in the year. There's the whole 855 thing, right?
Yeah, and now just on the 18th, there's a lawsuit we talked about last night that was filed to overturn the basically PW Arms is suing Bat Fee.
They imported my Beretta.
For banning 7 and 6 ammo and classifying it as armor piercing, and basically because there were 3 prototypes that were never actually went into production that were imported, handguns that could fire 7 and 6 that were imported just as prototypes. That they said, well, now since it can be fired out of a handgun and it's armor piercing, and basically this company paid 6 cents a round for like 9 million rounds of 7 and 6 ammo, and they're suing the government, for $1 a round.
Because they couldn't import them after they bought them. That's
They bought them, and there's like 4 cargo containers in Pennsylvania, full of, and there's a bunch in Germany, full of 7 and 6 ammo that they own that they can't sell.
right.
So, but it'll be interesting. It was filed on the 18th of December. So,
I mean, if there's anything you guys would like us to go over in the chat that you're, we've got people watching. So, if there's anything you'd like us to mention, we can mention. Yeah, we got people watching.
Wow, this show is starting to go places.
We're getting to the big times, and watch, our viewer rating will go down after that.
Why is it when I'm able to actually speak without coughing violently, your viewership goes up? What's up with that?
I don't know. Now it's gone down to 2, so I think I just jinxed this. Wait, it's back up to 5. All right. DF2 dot in the chat mentioned pistol firing the ammo is irrelevant.
Well, yeah, it's not irrelevant to the ATF making their arbitrary decision, but yeah.
Right, because that's the way the law was written, was that. But with even that, no, because it said something about any round that's designed to be fired in a pistol, not something that was designed as a rifle round and then someone made a pistol. And then the other part of that, and I'm gonna forget exactly how it was worded, but I remember digging into it like word for word. It said something about the projectile being basically exclusively made of either one of these materials or a combination of, and they list a bunch of stuff, titanium and steel and whatever different things.
I don't know of any titanium-made bullets. Do you?
Well, I don't know either. They might not even be in one of them. You know what I mean? It was any hard metal shit.
Nomenclature.
I put the court filing in the hit and miss chat on gun channels there.
The thing though is the way it was worded. It basically made it sound like, it's either made entirely of the material or made entirely of a combination of the materials. But that would mean that if it's a lead
something
with
about
a steel core,
something about it.
But it's not entirely made out of steel, and it's not entirely made out of a combination of steel and brass and
in between the
and all the other shit.
regs and the ATF regs, I mean, they can all go piss off. I mean,
It's true. But, the ATF, I think, the reason why they're trying to do all these laws is because they're trying to help Obama further his gun control, agenda, as we all know. And I think they're also trying to make them, trying to take the self-important stance that they're a government agency, they're a 3-letter agency, they're important, they're doing stuff, which they're pissing everyone off when they do that.
Let me give you a theory here. Let me give you a new facet here. I don't think Obama has a gun control agenda. I think he has an agenda to destroy civility in this nation.
Nah.
Look what he's doing in his own home state.
Where? Hawaii?
Controlling guns.
Chicago.
He's predicating chaos.
Well,
today a story broke out.
That's politics. That's not
right. But today a story broke out where the Russian, what's the word I'm looking for? Their diplomats are basically calling out Obama for making the job of defeating ISIS more difficult.
Oh,
and there's a little bit of truth to that,
Russians?
Isn't there?
No, there's never anything having to do remotely with the truth that comes out of any representative of Vladimir Putin's mouth.
Are you kidding me? They're getting results.
Fuck Putin and fuck Russia.
Russia bombs ISIS. France gets attacked. France bombs ISIS. America gets attacked.
Russia gets attacked. Russia drops bombs. They hit the ground. They aren't actually. Who knows what they're hitting?
They're making an effort. They're blaming the people who attack. What do? We do? We blame the gun. You know how retarded that sounds to the rest of the world?
The problem is, though, you speak of Russia, a lot of the people they're bombing are, the rebels over there, because they're buddies with the government, and we don't like the government, so we're helping the rebels and bombing ISIS, where they're bombing ISIS and bombing the rebels.
Don't try and explain this to the people, because it won't make any sense no matter how hard you try and explain it.
It's because it doesn't make sense, man. There's 20 million groups over there all fighting each other.
The rebels are not an organized front. All they know is you've got all these different splinter cells who are against the government. But the problem is the government and the splinter cells are fighting what they consider terrorists. And then the Russians are supporting the government, obviously, because they're selling the weapons to that government.
No,
you got to deal with one issue at a time.
The weapons they sell the government, it's the oil the government will owe them afterwards that's important too.
Just don't tell me that the Russian representatives are complaining. I don't give a shit what they complain about.
They're calling out our president for inaction and actually making their job more difficult. And
Russia's just trying to distract from the issue that they're that his bank that is used, Putin's bank that is used to bail out all the oligarchs and their pet projects and pay for Sochi, needs an $18 billion bailout.
Yeah, and it's Russia's own fault for what? Invading and taking part of of Ukraine away. And
Crimea doesn't pay.
Yeah, Crimea doesn't pay. There you go. And then not to mention the fact that they've still got several thousand troops stationed along the border.
This is Vladimir. I want to tell you all that I am a humanitarian and I am helping. I am giving AKs for tots in most of these countries. I am also doing a program where I help loan some money in exchange for oil to these countries. And I help build new holes with my bombers in these countries. Thank you.
Here's the problem, okay?
Putin has invaded Texas.
The French and Texas wants to annex Hawaii to set you free. How's that work? Anyway, France gets attacked, right? And America stands behind France. There was this Facebook revolution where everyone put the French flag over their pictures and yada yada yada. We felt that we were behind the French's plight, okay? And we sympathized and empathized with their problem. Russia attacks ISIS. France attacks ISIS. We support France, and yet France supports Russia. Now what? Now what?
Whoa. Hold up.
What,
Back
now
up there
what?
France supports
never
Russia's
supported
attack
France
on
at
ISIS.
all. I've
They
never
do.
supported France whatsoever because France, they piss me off. Okay, you know when we created NATO back in like the 50s or 60s, France was one of the they were one of the people, one of the countries that helped create NATO. But
I thought they weren't a part of NATO.
Fucking pulled out because de Gaulle thought that they shouldn't be involved in the Cold War. Yes, it was fucking de Gaulle.
De Gaulle just wanted to be independent. He didn't want to be subject to
anybody.
It wasn't a thing of being
It was
subject
about
to anybody.
sovereignty.
It was a thing about being united against communism. That's what it was about.
Well, because that was what the itchy blanket was at the time. De Gaulle took off, and then when he had, the West basically help re-liberate his country, then we installed de Gaulle back as a national figurehead. We could have just took it over by ourselves, but we wanted to make it politically correct, and he was considered a national hero. So we sent him back over there and re-empowered his nation once it was liberated.
Thank you, Highlander. De Gaulle was an asshole and a piece of shit. Thank you. But yeah, France is also the reason that, while some people say there was more to it than that, France is the reason why Germany attacked France in World War II, why they invaded. Okay,
no,
the Treaty of Versailles.
That was just strategic importance.
It was the Treaty of Versailles.
Go after.
Actually,
it was Hitler.
Hitler was one of the other reasons, and France is also the reason why we joined Vietnam.
No, France was not the reason.
No,
France was there first.
They asked for our help, and we said no.
France retreated from a conflict they had no interest in.
They had lost the conflict.
The problem is America stuck their nose in Vietnam because we were fighting communism because it was like the cancer of the world at the time. That's what we thought.
The domino theory.
Yeah, because Korea fell and then Vietnam was falling. We had to go and instill ourselves. My dad fought that war. He's got 4 holes in his body to prove it. I mean, that was a war that we should have never stuck our nose in.
And we never left South Korea either.
No, we're still there. That's how I came. That's how I came to being.
My grandfather was a Korean War veteran, so.
Which has
my father knows people's grandfathers. I exist because we stuck our nose in Korea. We should have never been there. I should have been born from my dad from Michigan and this Polish chick that he was dating in Michigan. So.
Wow. Okay. Moving on. Why don't we do this since we're getting down to the hour mark almost. G-Web's told me to go and give out some patches every once in a while. So
Damn it!
I'm gonna
I can't win a patch, but I could be on a show that gives one out.
I'm gonna give a patch out now. So how should we do this? What you think? You guys should give them a question and have them answer the question. The first one gets it right gets a patch.
Yes, I don't think giving
What
it
year
away
was it
just based off a name is fair. You should ask a trivia type question.
Yeah, we're gonna ask a trivia type question. So
What year was the Tet offense?
no, we're not gonna do that.
No.
We're not gonna do anything like that. Okay, if you can tell me the name of the current Attorney General of Virginia, then you get a patch.
Man, you're gonna have these people Google this crap.
Mr. Douche.
How fast can you Google it?
Fastest Googler wins a patch. You can get a
Yes.
Yankee Marshall patch because I'm pretty sure G-Web still has a couple.
Well, I don't know about that.
Not even I have one of those.
Get me the name of the Attorney General, and you will get a patch. I'm making it easy now.
You are making it too easy. You're making a Googleable question. You should ask him something like, what's the name of Ponery's new political party for 2020?
The first one that gives me the answer in the chat, on Hit or Miss chat, they'll get that patch.
Wait a minute, you're not watching the YouTube?
I don't even know if I've got it set up. I don't mess with YouTube.
You're losing viewer base.
You act as if I had a viewer base to begin with.
You're getting one now.
All of my viewer base is all from gun channels.
Which everyone should join if you are watching from YouTube. That way you can actually win a patch, because obviously our host is not watching YouTube chat right now.
I don't even know if I have it enabled, actually. You see, that's how out of touch I am.
I have a question using the next week's chat, dude. Put it in the side.
I don't even have anyone in the YouTube chat. There's no one there. So.
Okay. It'll grow.
Then on gun chat's answer.
I thought we were supposed to refrain from using criminal names on our live chat, is what a Highlander just said. Okay, so you don't want us to give you the name? Okay, fine.
I don't see any names yet.
I don't see, we got people here in the chat, but no one's saying anything, so I don't know if they're listening or not.
Maybe if they just don't want a Yankee Marshall chat or patch.
You can get whatever patch is available there.
I'm sure G still has some Glocktober patches left.
Those are cool. I already have one, but they're cool. I like them. I like the old one. The 2014 Glocktober patch was awesome.
Next year's Glocktober patch will be a picture of Yankee Marshall's Gary the Glock. No, that's not true. I'm just saying.
Thomas says we're just lazy. They don't want to Google it. Wow.
You guys are lazy. See, you should have asked a more appealing question.
Okay, you want to give them an easier question then?
I have to think of one. Give me a second.
In less than a one-page essay, explain the Chicago Way from the, what are they called? Elliot Ness. No, what's that called?
Oh, okay. I've got a good one. Let's run with this one.
All right, we'll run with that one.
Okay. So today in Hawaii, so HVS, you should know this, the Secret Service was tasked with taking down a drone that was seen flying over the president's motorcade. What happened to the person who owned the drone when the Secret Service confronted him?
Nothing.
You give away the answer.
I thought I just won a patch.
I guess you did.
No, we can't give it to someone on the panel.
Well, yeah, but now you just wasted my question.
What was the answer?
The answer was the Secret Service didn't do a damn thing, because that would be the pot calling the kettle black, since
They
that's
just asked him to stop cease and
favorite
desist.
toy.
flying a drone. They said cease and desist, and he did.
Yeah.
That was it.
Wait. Thomas just says nothing.
Give it to Thomas.
You know, we're going to give it to Thomas.
He made an
Thomas,
effort to answer.
You made
Even though he just heard it.
You made an effort to answer, even if you just heard it. So
the current bar to getting the Daily Patch giveaway is just simply attempting an answer.
Yeah.
Right.
You have attempted to listen to
Go
the
to
chat.
gunchannels.com/DPG. I'll put a link in the chat room for you. And just sign up for, a patch.
He named the Attorney General, too.
And you named the Attorney General. Okay, you get the patch.
Oh.
You earned it.
He actually earned it, yeah.
So, congratulations. You won a patch. All right, we got that out of the way. We got 10 minutes left.
So,
you guys want to talk about anything?
I want to read this headline here. It says, open carry laws didn't stop cops from killing Tamar Rice or John Crawford. Now, these are two different kids that in Ohio this year pointed guns at cops.
Wait, you're missing a very big detail. This was a 6-foot-tall, 170-pound 12-year-old.
So let me start off with this. The first kid was in a Walmart. He had gone in and opened up a box and taken out an airsoft / BB gun that looked exactly like a SCAR with no orange nose cone on it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was running around aiming it at things. Somebody called the cops. They showed up. He turns around and muzzles them, and they're already drawn, and they pop him when he muzzles. The cops muzzle him. Okay? This other kid is in a city inside Ohio, Cleveland, in a busy city park, and went out there and was walking around with his new realistic-looking 45 1911 style pistol in his pants. Somebody calls the cops. They drove up. As soon as they jumped down and drew their guns, he reached and pulled the gun out of his pants. And both these kids were, although they were young, they were mid-teen looking, like 16, 17. These are the same kids that these cops bust all the time for all sorts of crimes. So it wasn't like they're like, oh look, it's a 5-year-old with a toy gun. These were adult-sized people.
Nathan, you're a fellow Texan. Let me ask you this, because you're of my generation as well. When is the last time you walked into a toy store and actually saw a realistic-looking toy gun? Because my answer to that is the last time I saw one, I was 15 years old, and I was 15 years old 21 years ago.
Oh yeah, no, every gun in a toy store has been completely unrealistic. But
right.
I do have to say that pellet guns and BB guns, because they shoot projectiles, don't have orange nose cones like airsoft rifles, and they make them to look exactly like the real things. So here's a little tip, kids. All you kids out there watching, I know there's millions of you right now watching this.
Right.
Don't point guns at cops. They
I
will
got a
shoot.
better one for you.
If you're a kid watching this show, turn it off.
I've got a better one for you.
Yeah, no kidding.
I have applied in the past to be a Houston Police Department officer. It's a long process. You apply. You have to have a certain number of college credit hours. You have to have criminal justice background or psychology background in my case. You are put on a list, and then they call you, and then they put you through their paces or whatever. The problem and my concern these days is officers are trained to obviously protect themselves, get home safe, and they are shooting these, quote, perpetrators who are taking toys and taking the orange caps off, or they're buying airsoft guns that don't have orange caps, right? So these people are victims of circumstance of their own creation. What I'm concerned about in the future, which it has to have crossed a criminal mind by now, is what if you find a criminal who takes a real gun and Krylon's an orange tip on there, and the officer is trained not to fire on somebody who's carrying a gun with an orange tip, but it's a real gun, and that guy's gonna die.
I've
now
seen
what?
guns like that before.
Now what? That
When I was in high
is a
school.
huge concern that is going to get the antis in they're just going to cream themselves.
They're going to ban the color
Possibility.
orange. They're just going to ban the orange.
But you see, my point is we're working on one end of the spectrum, and the criminal who's always thinking about how to get away with, whatever they're doing, is thinking on the other end. So kids are dying because they're taking off the orange caps. Criminals may start killing cops because they're painting orange tips.
So Sean, I have a question for you. Us from the
I think if you're a criminal, I'm just going to say with regard to that, if you're a criminal and your plan of committing a successful crime depends on a cop thinking that your gun, because it has an orange tip, isn't a threat, your plan has got a basic flaw in it.
It buys the perpetrator time in that confusion.
Maybe a second.
That's all he needs.
Is that an air swamp?
So, Sean, what,
Yeah.
or anyone, what does this look like I'm holding?
Wait, let me switch channels.
A gun.
That looks like a
Glock.
Glock.
Yeah, it looks just like a Glock.
And that's not a blue gun.
Except for the fact that it's an airsoft pistol that has the orange tip missing. Now,
Right.
if I did this in my pants and the cops drove up and
They
I
would
reached
shoot
out, grabbed it and pulled it out of my pants,
They
what
would
would
shoot
happen
you.
to me?
They would shoot you.
They would shoot me.
They would
full of
shoot
holes.
you whether or not it had an orange tip.
Now, here's the next question. The cops drive up, and I have this in my pants, and they drive up. What should I do?
Yeah, that.
This is what you should do. Everyone should know this. The fact that kids are too stupid today to have the common sense to know that they don't muzzle people with real or fake guns, and especially muzzle armed
I see
cops.
people on the firing line who
This is-
don't know that.
Hold on, but the fact that an inner city kid should know not to point a gun at a cop. The fact that he doesn't is what Darwin would call, what's that word?
Listening to too much rap.
Games win stupid prizes is what he would call that.
Yeah, but I mean, what is it called? It's natural selection or something like
Yes.
that. Basically, like
I'd call it a Darwin Award.
Theory of natural selection. That's exactly what that
Theory
is.
of natural selection. If you're so dumb, you're gonna pull a fake gun on a cop or aim a fake gun at a cop. You're
You're going to win the ultimate prize.
Public school systems failed. Everyone has failed you in your entire life, including yourself. At that point.
How do they know it's not a fake cop?
What?
Because the cop isn't painted on.
Oh, right. Okay.
All I'm saying is the kids who are playing with these toys are taking off the tips because I was a kid and I did the
I
same
did that too.
I did the same thing. I took the tips off because I wanted it to look real. Unfortunately, or fortunately, my parents were smart enough to teach me, you don't point these things at people. When you're playing and you're shooting at invisible aliens with your friends, that's one thing. But when people are in front of you who have a badge and a real gun, you don't point them at them.
Yeah.
Things were different back in the 90s, but these days, not so much.
In the 80s and the 90s, even any kid knew you don't muzzle a cop. You shoot at your friends with your cap guns that you pull the red tips off of that look real. But if a cop drives up and you go, oh, cop car, crap,
Put them
you
away.
throw the gun on the ground.
Exactly.
And you're like, hi, my hands are open. I'm smart enough. I don't want to get shot because I have
Right.
some. And kids today don't.
You know what's really unfortunate is we're saying this when we were kids, this is what we would do. Because you're my generation, so you and I would have done this, right? Unfortunately, the kids that are dying are the children that people of our age have fathered. And that's shocking to me.
It just proves how many idiots there are in our generation.
No,
Well,
it's
when you
the
say
fact that
fathered,
we know better and we
got
haven't
sex
taught
with
our
somebody
children this.
Then bailed on them, and their own kid. They bailed. Well, the way the world is now, the girl has sex with the guy disappears. The government pays the girl more. The more babies she has, the more she gets paid. But there's no father to help raise the kids. There's just it's a one-parent household, and it's a bad way to raise kids.
All right, we're going to end on that note.
We haven't
I
done
think
anything
we've come.
offensive
I
yet.
think we've come. What?
We haven't said anything offensive yet.
Huma huma
No,
nuku nuku wapa wa'a.
That's not offensive, is it?
Please don't curse in your Samoan dialect, sir.
It's not Samoan. Racist.
oh,
It's kind of Samoan.
I really don't know anything other than English. Well, I know a little German and Italian, but nothing I could use in this situation. So I'm just going to say.
I know how to cuss in other languages if you would like.
Nathan, you were a very, very good substitute stone guy, so give us something to go out on.
Ooh,
You say something else racist.
Man, now you're going to make me have to try to think. Wow.
Well, I can give you something racist. Al Sharpton and Jesse Jackson are fucking frauds, and they should be hung for treason right next to our president. There you go.
The same as that NAACP lady who was white that tried to play off being black.
She's awesome.
She is what's wrong with America. But that's all I'm going to say. That's all we're going to say. Okay, we're ending it. I want to thank... No, we're ending it. No, you stop.
No, that was my dog.
I want to thank Hawaii Volcano Squad for showing up.
No problem, mate.
Hey, Hawaii, why do your people always riot when you run out of pineapples? What's your problem?
I'm not Hawaiian. I'm from LA.
He's from California.
It's even worse.
Better?
So what was your question?
I really didn't have one. It was more of a statement.
All right, I want to thank Nathan for being our substitute stone guy.
Thank you.
You need a holster, go to sheepdogleather.com.
And the discount code is hum hum nuku nuku wapu a.
You have to spell that for these folks.
If you can spell that correctly, you will get a discount.
Thanks, Sean Ponry, for actually showing up this time.
Hey, I could finally talk. You can use code Mahalo.
Mahalo. All right. We're getting somewhere now. Anyways, I'm Night Strike. This was Hit or Miss.